All over the world, numerous amounts of crimes happen in seconds. Some willingly partaking and some unknowingly. But we will never stop spreading the word until the criminals are captured.
Exclusive video shows Stefanko handcuffed and heading into the police station shortly after the U.S. Marshals, Northern Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force, and New Franklin police picked her up following a traffic stop. Detective Michael Hitchings believes Stefanko got away with murder for 7 years until now.
I don't know. I don't know how you could live with that. Yeah, it's something that most of us couldn't think of.
In 2012, 25-year-old Ashley Biggs, who was working as a Domino's delivery driver, was lured to a business on West Turkeyfoot Lake Road after a bogus pizza order. She was ambushed by her former boyfriend, Chad Cobb, who strangled Bibbs and stuffed her body in the back seat of her car, which was abandoned in a Wayne County cornfield. He's serving life in prison. But now Stefanko, who was married to Cobb at the time of the crime, is facing multiple charges. Police say they have new evidence that it was Stefanko who called in the fake pizza order.
And she chose to go along with him on this. She's just as guilty.
Prior to the killing, Biggs and Cobb were locked in a bitter custody dispute over a girl they had together. Ashley's family left devastated by the murder, but relieved a second person has been charged.
The truth is going to come out about, the whole situation.
Okay, so to bring everybody up to speed, the lady who was arrested in the beginning, she had basically been on the run for 7 years. She got pulled over for it was basically a traffic stop. Maybe she yielded wrong. Maybe she went through red light, whatever it was. She got pulled over, and then that's when they took her in because she was wanted. Which I know those 7 years were very uncomfortable for her. I know every second she had to think what was next. See, when people do wrong and they try to get away with it, and it look like they getting away with it, they not getting away with it because they not at peace. I don't care how much at peace they try to make it seem like they are. They're not at peace. They wrestle in their mind. But a lot of them are too prideful to tell you. Anywho, so her and the guy got married. He previously had a baby. I believe she previously had a baby. He had the baby, his child, from another mother. The mother had went off to the military or did some things or whatever, but basically she left the baby with the dad, okay? The mother came back into the child's life and wanted her baby. And so Stefanko was like, no, you're not getting the baby. You know how it goes, how women put bugs in men's ears, especially when they feel like they the wife. Nah, fuck your baby mama or whatever. Where the fuck was she at when this? And da-da-da-da-da. She thinks she can do this and do that. So that, in that sense. But it got to the point where the lady had started going to pick her baby up from school. She started going to pick her baby up from school, and I guess sometimes she would do it without asking. So that's when it came into like this whole custody battle thing, okay? So he didn't like the fact that she was a lesbian. She had cut her hair short and all this stuff, and she was like a butch or a stud or whatever. He didn't like that. I guess it bothered him. Stefanko didn't like it, his wife. I guess it bothered her. But however, it was no cause for what was done to be done. They called this woman's job. This woman is working at Domino's Pizza. Stefanko calls this woman's job, orders a pizza, and asks for it to be delivered by Ashley. This was all premeditated. This was all planned out. Asks for it to be delivered by Ashley. And has it delivered to a certain address. That's just nothing but a bunch of buildings. So when she pull up, he'll see her pull up because he was hiding like behind the buildings or in the woods. And that's when he then took her, his baby mama, and strangled her and stuffed her in the backseat of the car. Mind you, Stefanko, what he said in his testimony was Stefanko actually, it was her idea. She went to Walmart. He went with her to buy a cell phone. Those prepaid phones you can get, like a track phone. So she was trying to outsmart the system with really outsmarting it. So that's how it happened. He said he didn't want to do this, but I guess it was peer pressure from her. Now, from what I hear, and when the little girl testified, they said that she said Stefanko, which was her stepmother, was evil toward her. And Stefanko pushed her face in the ground before and told her she was going to make her eat dog feces. Mind you, this happened years ago. This happened 7 years ago. The little girl was 7 or 8 at the time, and now she's 15. So the little girl wanted to testify because she said she remembered that day. Of course, the prosecutors and lawyers or whatever tried to get her not to testify, but in the state of Ohio, if a child is, I believe, at least 7 or 8 years old and they remember a crime, then they're allowed to get on the stand. The little girl, they kept her identity hidden. They referred to her as G, I believe, or Gigi or something like that, which I get it because she still has to go to school. She still has friends. She still has to walk around, and it could definitely be embarrassing. However, she remembered all the kids. Mind you, it was her. She already had another baby, and then they ended up having 2 children together. So all 4 of the children were in the car when this was taking place. They were like riding in the car as a family. She drove her husband to the scene so the girl's mom could come up there. The little girl was in the car. She remembered that. She said she just remembered just being in the car forever and falling asleep and waking up the next day at the grandma's house. She remembered Stefanko placing a phone call asking for a pizza. And she described it was something like half of it mushroom and half of it pepperoni. The little girl described all of that. She remembered that. And she said she remembered with her asking for it to be delivered specifically by Ashley. So his mother also took the stand. His mother had a recorded conversation between Stefanko and her, which the mother had held on to this evidence for 7 years. And I'm just kind of curious about why she didn't take this to the police beforehand and she held on to it this long. I guess she was just kind of waiting for her to get caught. But see, the problem was when he went down, they really didn't start doing anything because the kids were coming to visit him while he was in prison. It's not until she married his best friend. She married his best friend and had a baby with his best friend. And she also started stopping the children from going to see him in prison. So that's when things got ugly. So every bit of that phone conversation that his mother had held on to, that was pure evidence. But let's take a look and see. Let's look at his trial right now. He actually admitted to. I mean, you can't see any emotions because he has a mask on. But he actually admitted to doing this. So let's take a look at his. He said he didn't want to do it, but he had to do it. And that lets us know it was peer pressure.
What did you hear Erica say on that phone call?
Objection.
Overruled.
I remember her saying somebody else's name. I remember it was a Jennifer or Katie, and it was Mick something. Like how you say McDonald's, I don't remember what she said the last name was. And I remember she ordered a pizza. And I remember it struck me as bizarre because she ordered pepperoni, and mushroom pizza. A short time later, Ashley showed up.
What was she driving?
Her car.
And did her car have any Domino's, I guess, markings on it?
No, sir.
Where were you when you first saw the car?
Somewhere in the, I think I was just walking around in circles. So I remember I was fairly close to the tree.
And you knew that Ashley was on her way there, didn't you?
After Erica made that phone call and came over.
So you were waiting for Ashley.
Sir, I wasn't necessarily waiting for Ashley, I was stuck there.
Did you have any intentions of buying that pizza that night?
I didn't know it was ordered, and I had no intention of buying it, or buying one.
You didn't know it was ordered? I thought you said that Erica ordered a pizza on the phone.
Yes, sir, but up until that point, I didn't know that she was going to be doing so.
What did you do with Ashley's body?
When I had to leave, I picked her up and put her in the car.
Whose car?
Ashley's car.
What part of the car did you put her in?
In the back seat.
And when you put her in the back seat, did she have anything on her that was placed on her that she didn't have on her when she arrived?
Yes, there was.
What was on her?
A zip tie.
How many?
I only remember one. I remember one around her neck.
Is it fair to say that Ashley did not leave that parking lot alive that night?
Yes.
Well, y'all heard him admit that. So now let's take a clip at Erica's trial. That's her name. So Erica is his wife, and his deceased baby mother is Ashley. I forgot her name earlier, but let's take a look at Erica's trial, and I want y'all to look at her demeanor. She just look.
Pendency of his case, did you still have communications with Erica?
Yes.
And did those communications involve discussions regarding what happened the night that Ashley died?
Occasionally.
All right. And what types of things was she telling you about that?
They were all together, and that she had placed the call to arrange for the pizza and the meeting place.
For the pizza and
The meeting place?
the meeting place.
I'm not trying to manipulate anyone. I'm not trying to anybody. I'm just want to come forward and raise the kids. At one time, I mean, you told me face to face that you made the phone call and you set the meeting up. I mean, that you had told me, and there's no lie in that. Like I said, if Chad said this is what we're going to do, and this is your part in it, and I carried out my part in it, and I did exactly what he told me to do. And it wasn't because he was forcing me to do it, or like he had a gun to my head. It was because he said, this is your part, and this is what you're going to do.
Okay, well, y'all heard that. Y'all heard from both of them. And see, my thing is, now they're both playing the blame game. I didn't want to do it. And she's like, he didn't put a gun in my head, but he said, this is your part. This is what you're going to do. Now, I could be wrong, but I don't believe it was his idea. I believe it was all her idea and everything came from her. I believe he fell underneath peer pressure and did it because of her. That's what I believe. That's my own personal opinion, which I am entitled to. And whatever you believe is what you believe. But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, somebody is fucking dead. Somebody is gone over some nonsense, over a custody battle. It's all about control. And it's sad, because at the end of the day, they can sit there and blame it on each other, but they both are gone now. She's been gone, and then he got locked up prior to after that, so he's been in prison for a while now, or jail, or wherever he's been. I guess it's been jail. He's finally had his trial. And she's been free for 7 years. So I hope she enjoyed those 7 years, because now I can't really say exactly what the charges were because I didn't look into that. I just know she got hit with a lot. But at the end of the day, somebody is gone. And the thing is, people really overreact in situations, and it don't have to be that deep. We be like, come on now. It didn't have to go that deep. And then I understand our tempers go there. We are capable of pretty much doing anything. You know, even when we think we won't, you never know. When you get heated in the heat of a second, you never know. But at the end of the day, that's why we have to think first. Because is it worth our lives? Is it worth our freedom? Is it worth another person's life? No, it's not. So let's get the comment section cracking. I want to know what y'all think about this. Let's get it going down in the comment section, okay? Until next time on CSWN Crime Stories with Nina. As we continue to pray for the healing of this nation and let God rule and reign, we won't stop fighting. Because most of all, we want justice.